Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new Versus. For those who don't know what Versus is, this is a series I do over here on Tomb of Terrors where we take the original film and compare it to the remake, the reboot, the reimagining, whatever it is that came out afterwards. And then kind of talk, is there other versions out there? Is there whatever? I have a blast with these because these are always with my sometimes always guest. My wife.
Sometimes always
Sometimes
guest?
always. Because you started out as a sometimes guest.
I did, and I threw a fit.
And then now you're the only guest. So that's why you're the sometimes always.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, Kara, and we are going to be talking about Carrie, the original film from 1976, and the theatrical remake from 2013. There was a made-for-TV film in 2002. We aren't going to talk about that. And there was a
Carrie 2.
There was a Carrie 2, The Rage. But we're sticking to the 76 and the 2013. Kara has read the book, so she'll have some tidbits to throw in there as we kind of talk. It's been a while since you and I have done one of these. I'm trying to remember, was it?
Well, we were going to do hide and seek. What was it called? We were going to, and then we didn't.
The Ready or Not. We were going to do that for a separate thing.
Yeah.
Talk about the sequel. But as a Versus, I'm trying to remember if it's, maybe it was House of Wax was our last one. I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I remember thinking that whatever it wasn't great, and kind of being mad that I agreed to these things.
You wanted to be the always guest, so
I got bamboozled.
I don't know about bamboozled. I just kind of picked these out of random.
You do not pick them randomly. You get some sort of itch up your booty and determine that that's what you're going to do.
That's random. It's a random itch. So I randomly picked them. This one I did pick for a reason, because the original film, it's its 50th anniversary this year. So I was like, this is a good one. We have 50 years, as well as there is yet again another version coming out later this year.
Is there really?
There is.
I don't think I knew that.
Mike Flanagan, who has done many of Stephen King's adaptations, is taking a shot at this. It's going to be a mini series on Amazon Prime.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Let's dive into, how we're going to do it is we'll give quick thoughts on each film, and then we'll dive into kind of compare, contrast. We'll throw some book knowledge in there of what you've read from the book, and then go from there.
Okay.
So we'll start with Carrie from 1976. This is directed by Brian De Palma, stars Sissy Spacek, Amy Irving, Piper Laurie, William Catt, John Travolta, PJ Soles.
Did you know this was John Travolta's first Hollywood film?
I did not know that.
It is.
I did not know that.
He was getting big on Welcome Back, Kotter, but this was his first Hollywood film.
Oh, wow.
And he got second billing to Sissy Spacek, which he should not have gotten, given that it was his first film.
It was crazy. It'd been a few years since I've watched it, and then watching it going, oh yeah, he's in it? Like William Catt, and John Travolta shows up, PJ Soles, just all these people that you've known through the years. Sissy Spacek and Piper Laurie were nominated for Oscars for this film. I mean, this film is a classic. It's one of those movies, especially in the horror world, in the Stephen King book to film world, that people know. You say Carrie, people are like, yes, I've seen it, yes, I love it, or whatnot.
Right.
You couldn't remember if you'd seen it or not.
I couldn't. I'm pretty sure that I had, but it could have also been one of those things where it was on the TV at some point, like growing up, like a Saturday night something, or like a Sunday afternoon, like when they would just show old movies that they'd then taken all of the R-ratedness out of them.
Yes.
Because there were definitely scenes that I knew, and I knew the story, which also brings me to I'm pretty sure I'd read the book before, because I went through a pretty big Stephen King phase in hhigh school. But I just reread it because I was like, now that I've watched this, I got to reread it again.
Well, as we were watching it, you're like, I just checked it out from the library. I'm gonna read it again, or read it for the first time, whichever it was.
Yeah.
I don't know if it inspired you to want to read it, or if it was just one of those like, I want to know what was left out kind of thing.
It was more that I want to know what was left out, because I know how Stephen King writes. To say that I've read enough and seen enough adaptations to know where there's stuff missing, there was a lot missing in Carrie, and I could tell that, and I wanted to remember what it was that was missing.
As you don't fully remember seeing the movie, maybe just pieces. What did you think of the film overall?
Honestly, the things that I was I'm trying to think, like, because it was a film from the 70s, it's not like it was anything that blew my mind. At the time, I can see where it would have been horrifying. As a person who works in schools, I was cracking up because the idea that any kind of discipline would actually stick, that's hilarious. That the gym teacher like smacked her in the face, also hilarious. There are just so many things that were bizarre to me in terms of the way things were handled. The things that they got right was that basically everybody was kind of doing whatever they wanted because their parents had no idea where they were. That piece they got correct.
Yeah, because I mean, us growing up, you're just like, you left the house and it's be home by dark.
The end. I did resonate with the small town thing because that's how I grew up.
Yeah.
Yes, everybody would have known who Carrie was. She was the oddball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you went to a small school. Did you have the oddball?
Yeah.
We had the oddball.
Oh, yeah. Like, you knew who each kid was and kind of who their group was and who they hung out with, what they kind of did. Like I was known as the kid who always hung out in the art room. I
did everything, but I was the non-partier kid. If I got caught, my mom would have killed me. And everyone knew my mom and my dad, so there was a good possibility I was getting caught.
They worked for the school, so you couldn't get caught because it would have been double bad.
Well, and my school took like this massive hard line. Like there was one year, a bunch of kids got caught drinking, and they literally Sharpied them out of the yearbook in their pictures.
Wow.
Massive hard line.
With this, do you think especially some of the school stuff and kind of the way they acted, it is the time period?
Some of it definitely is. The idea that you would get out of gym for having your period is laughable. That definitely didn't happen.
Okay.
But I would say, I think the click thing is probably pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I think the have and have nots is also probably pretty accurate. Like in that respect, yeah.
I mean, and I've seen this original Carrie. I've seen it multiple times. It's been a few years since I watched it, and it's always been one of those films that you remember. You remember when she gets the pig blood spilled on her. You remember kind of when she goes crazy. You remember certain pieces as you go along. And watching it again, seeing, Brian De Palma directed it, and he has very much a style to his directing, especially because he likes to use a lot of foreground background.
Right. I mean, it was definitely a more artistically done kind of film.
Yes. Brian De Palma, it's one of those, yes, it's a horror story, but he was like, bringing someone like him in, we're going to make a for reals movie, so to speak.
Yeah. Sissy Spacek did a great job in terms of being mousy and not like trying to draw attention to herself. Mm-hmm. When do you want me to insert facts from book?
How about we talk about the remake?
Because there are things that both of them got right, and there are things that both of them got wrong.
But overall, you enjoyed the original movie?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay. So let's talk about the remake. Like I said, there was a made-for-TV film in 2002. I have not seen that one.
No.
We did not watch that one. In 2013, there was a remake that came out, directed by Kimberly Pierce. It stars Chloe Grace Moretz, Julianne Moore, Judy Greer, Gabriella Wilde, and Ansel Elgort. And to go with your John Travolta fact, this is his first feature film.
I know. You didn't ask me, but I'm just going to tell you my thoughts anyways.
No, what you thought of this one. I hadn't seen this one before we watched it.
This one got it more right.
Interesting. Okay.
It definitely followed the book more. Both of them, and when we get to this point, they both got the end completely wrong. And that is a piece that I think is a huge miss for both of them. And I will tell you what the ending is in the book is here in a little bit. But in the first one, it was listed, like what I've read is that they didn't do it because it was determined that it was going to be too costly.
That's fair.
Which is fair.
Fair.
And especially at that time. Quite truthfully, in 2013, they had no excuse.
Well, in 2013, there was a different ending that she shot that she wanted in the movie, the director, Kimberly Pierce. But the studio said no and overrode her and used the ending that's in it.
So I would like to see that alternate ending because really she got it more right.
I guess I'll say right here, if you've never listened to a Versus we'll spoil the movies. We talk about the movies. Obviously, she said she's going to talk about the ending of the book, the movies, everything else. Because I can tell you what the alternate ending to the remake is, and you could tell me how close or if not it is.
Yeah. Before we
jump all the way to the end? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we watched this just last night, and
the remake.
The remake. I loved how you're like, well, that's different in the beginning, and because the beginning of the movie is her giving birth.
Giving birth, yes,
and that is a scene from the book.
From the book, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've never read the book. I've only ever seen the 1976 movie. So,
and one of the things that they talk about, and the first thing to know about the book is the way that it's written is not your traditional Stephen King. Carrie was his first published novel, which is crazy that his first published novel is then picked up by a studio and a film is created 2 years later.
Yeah.
That is crazy. He was paid a whopping $2,500 for it.
Oh. And I think Carrie, I'd have to look into it, might be the one of his books that might have been adapted the most, because there are 3 films. There's the miniseries coming out this year, and there's a stage play.
Yeah, there is a stage play, which they also turned into a musical at one point, and I just am not really sure why you would do that, but that's neither here nor there. But in the book, the entire story is told as a flashback. It is being told from the 80s, looking back, and this incident is being reviewed like we look at Columbine. Okay.
And through like news articles.
Yes, it's being reviewed through news articles. There are entire portions of the federal government that have been created to keep things from this happening again. It is told from eyewitness accounts and interviews. It's just a very, very different. And then you go into flashbacks here and there.
Might have been the teaser trailer for the remake. Their trailer, they did it that way, where it was like news reports with voiceovers and stuff. So I think people were thinking, oh, they're going to get the movie like this.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
And I will say in the book, when they're reading the reports of the paramedics, and they say, they're like, it's really kind of crazy that Margaret White didn't know she was pregnant. And she called 911 because she thought she was legitimately dying. But by the time they got to her, she was sitting there with a baby, and they say, like, we're assuming she used the giant scissors or she had like a knife or something in her hand to cut the umbilical cord. And then later in the book, she references, I should have killed you when you were born.
Yeah.
I should, like, all of that is true.
Yeah, the beginning of that remake, I was like, oh, we're going a little further, because the original doesn't.
Well, and in the book, like, they kind of go to that kind of in the middle, which is weird. The
one thing, especially big difference for me, is obviously the way that Carrie White is portrayed in the 2 films. I mean, Sissy Spacek versus Chloe Grace Moretz. Like, I think you mentioned it before, how Sissy Spacek is very, like, a good, like, little mouse. Like, she just kind of flies in the background, kind of like that. Whereas Chloe Grace Moretz, kind of, it's a bit of a different feel to her, like, timidness.
Agreed. Chloe Grace seems more along the lines of, honestly, what a teen girl today would probably have been in that situation, trying to fly under the radar, but not really knowing how to do that. Because the other thing that I think that this film got right is by trying to set it in present day, she did a great job of like, okay, now what would have happened today? It would have been filmed. It would have been posted. Like, all of those pieces are absolutely, like, that was spot on.
Not just bullying, but cyberbullying as well.
But cyberbullying as well. And another thing that I think she got right is that entitlement of, you can't touch me. Like, I'm untouchable. You have no power. You can't touch me. I can do whatever I want. You don't have the right to do X, Y, and Z.
Oh, for Chris?
Yeah, Chris Arkinson.
And she, especially in the remake, she was much more of a bitch than she was
and she is very much a bitch in the book. However, the relationship in the first movie, her relationship with Billy, you can tell that Billy is, like, not the typical kid that, like, a girl like her would be going out with.
Okay.
Like, they even kind of bring that up a little bit. And they do, feel like they do a very good job of this in the remake as well. And like, oh no, he doesn't go here. And it's very obvious, like, okay, this is a different kind of person.
He's older. He's, he doesn't go to the school. Don't they say in the first one, isn't he out of school?
Yeah. In the book, I believe he either dropped out or was kicked out. And he is like a metal worker or something like he is a worker. And he has actually, one of the people who goes with them to the farm actually works on the farm.
Yeah, the Billy in the remake, I mean, John Travolta plays Billy in the original film. And the Billy in the remake is much more of a, I mean, how do you say it? He's much...
An asshole.
Yeah, much more of an asshole punk.
That does line up more with the book.
Okay.
Stephen King has said he prefers the way John Travolta played it. He's like, if I could rewrite the character, I would rewrite it that way to where he's just a dumbass.
He's very much a dumbass, yes.
It really, like, that just, like, there's malice there, but not true, I'm going to kill you malice. Mm-hmm. In the book, Billy drives things more than Chris does. Like, she comes up with a little bit of an idea, and then he just keeps pushing it forward.
He kind of pushes her a little more in the remake towards the end.
Yes,
pushes her a little harder to do it. She has moments where she's kind of having second thoughts. In the 76 film, I don't feel like she was having
I don't feel like she ever had any second thoughts.
No. And the difference with Sue and Tommy between the two, I know when we watched the original film, we weren't sure. We thought they were kind of playing her.
We did, yes.
It wasn't kind of Sue felt bad and wanted to kind of make amends, but kind of make things right.
Right. And what's interesting is in the book, they want Sue to be the scapegoat. She survives and moves, I believe, to New York, where she eventually publishes a novel called I Am Sue Snell, trying to set the record straight. Because all they want to do is prove that she was in on this and that she knew it was going to happen. What is unclear is if she knew what Chris and Billy were going to do, or if she knew what Carrie was going to do, and she was working with Carrie on everything that went down. It's she is very clear. She had no knowledge of any of this. She was just concerned for Carrie.
And I feel like both movies kind of played it to where she didn't really have much knowledge of what was going on, either side. Whether
right, and she genuinely did not have knowledge. She had a feeling in the book about what was going to happen.
Hence why she kind of goes there and tries to stop it.
Well, in the book, she is at home. The sirens go off. Like, we kind of do this here, but in a small rural town, you have your tornado siren. Like, you have your sound siren. They do that. And they were doing it in the 70s, they were talking about it in like air raids. Like talking about air raids, things like that, or tornadoes. So that went off, and which alerted the whole town that something was up. And so she did not witness what happened, but she got to the school and saw everything. She doesn't see Carrie leave, but she sees the entire school ablaze and knows. That's the other thing that's different in the book is since it's told by other people, a lot of them are like, oh no, I just knew, like I had this thought. So Carrie was able to give her thoughts to other people, similar to how she could move things. For example, in the book, she knew that Tommy was dead because she heard him think, ow, that really hurt. And then it was completely silent. She didn't ever have to turn around to see that. And in the book, it happened simultaneously. So I feel like that they got totally wrong.
I felt like the original movie didn't quite convey at that point that he died from the head injury.
Right.
I thought he just got knocked out. Whereas in the remake kind of made the point of really making sure you knew, yes, he's dead.
Well, and the book, they go back and forth about whether or not he would have died from that injury or because he was knocked out, did he just burn? So you are kind of left to question that.
Carrie's mom,
yes.
Margaret White. Piper Laurie played her in the original film. In the remake, Julianne Moore. I felt like that you kind of felt for mom a little bit more in the original, whereas you and I even both said it watching the remake of like, yeah, she's kind of a bitch and not nice at all. Like, I don't care what happens to her.
And that holds with the book.
Where mom is more just straight up mean.
Yeah. That one of the things that they bring to light in the book is that the closet, and I know that this would be hard to do, and I'm pretty sure they didn't want to depict this, but when she said go to your closet, the reason that she was so against going to the closet is once her mom put her in there, you never knew how long she was going to be forced to stay. So the book talks about one time CPS coming and finding her in all of her own excrement, and that she'd been forced to stay in there for who knows how long.
I mean, the 76 movie, I thought it was just she didn't want to go in there because that creepy Jesus.
All get out? Yeah.
The creepy Jesus that glowed.
With the shiny eyes.
I wouldn't want to be in there either with that.
Yeah. But she would put her in there and she never knew how long it would last. Sometimes it was an hour. Sometimes it was 4 days.
Trying to think of other things to compare between the two. I mean, you have your gym teacher between the two.
Well, the gym teacher was pretty accurate in both. They have her dying in one. Is the first one that she dies in?
Yes.
In the book, she doesn't die. She resigns. She makes it out. So just like she didn't make her die in this one, that's pretty accurate. Here is, to me, the biggest difference. I think Margaret White was almost made more cartoony in the original.
I could see that.
Like a lot of overacting.
Yes.
Julianne Moore did not overact.
I mean, there was some.
There was, yes. But she, I mean, again, she was really dislikable.
She was. And you could tell that there was a lot she was keeping inside with the scratching, the cutting, any interaction she would have with people. It was uncomfortable.
Her speech when she's holding Carrie at the very end before she stabs her is verbatim what is said in the book.
The big thing I noticed with the remake is they had it explore basically she, with her telekinesis, more than the original movie. I felt like the original movie, she didn't really feel like it clicked to her until the pig's blood was poured on her. Whereas in this one, I felt like she knew what her power was. She knew at that moment, like, all right, it's on now, because she used it on her mom. She used it in various other places throughout the movie itself. I felt like they played up the telekinetic stuff
and that
a
was,
lot more.
That was accurate to the book. Both movies have set this up to be a horrible thing that happened at the high school.
Correct.
The book is, yes, this started at the high school. It started because of bullying. She wipes out the entire town. So in the book, Chris and Billy get away, kind of like they did here. They get away and they decide they're going to, I think it's called the Cavalier. They're going to this bar.
Where they were all going to meet up.
Yeah, or like wherever, this bar, whatever it is. And Billy has decided that he's going to beat the living crap out of Chris because he's annoyed with her and like he's an abusive person and like he's kind of high on all the adrenaline. They get there and they argue and they fight and she gives it just as good as she takes it. And then they fall asleep on top of this bar or in this back room of this bar or whatever. They're there. Carrie leaves the school to find them. Her trek, which is they say it's about 3 miles, is a wake of destruction.
They sort of allude to it in the remake where she leaves the school and because they're in the car and she's tracking them down where you see stuff blowing up down the roads and stuff.
So she does go back to her house to find her mom and then everything happens like they say it does and she gets stabbed in the back. She takes the knife out and she's bleeding. But now that she's killed her mom, she's got to go find Chris and Billy and kill them. And
so that happens after mom.
That happens after mom. And so Sue Snell, hearing all of this, hearing the sirens, going to the school, seeing what happens, goes to her house because she assumes that Carrie would go home and sees her trail of blood. And she follows her trail of blood, and in following that, there is the wake of the destruction. She unscrews all of the lug nuts on all the fire hydrants so that the fire trucks can't put out fires.
So so everything can just burn to the ground.
So everything will just burn. And so anywhere that there's a fire hydrant, it comes off. Then there's all of these other things that blow up, and then power lines start coming down. Everybody in the town starts coming out, and they are all getting fried in its wake.
The original movie, it pretty much just keeps it to the school.
Right.
And the remake gives you a little bit more where she leaves the school.
But not
tons of destruction.
Yeah, there are 3 miles of destruction to the point that the town kind of shuts down. Nobody wants to live there anymore. Nobody.
Okay.
If you were in a neighborhood that didn't burn, you were fortunate, but you kind of want to leave anyways because it's tainted.
In both movies, she goes back to the house. She kills her mom.
No, her mom is already dead.
No, in both movies.
Oh, in both movies.
In both movies. She goes back to the house, kills her mom. And in the original, it's just the house crumbles and goes underground. Whereas the remake, it's raining rocks basically as it's crumbling down.
Yeah, no, it burns is what happens. Like everything burns. Sue Snell finds her in the parking lot where she has killed Billy and Chris, tells her that she'll help her and like everything that she did there. But then she gets, she calls 911 and they come and get Carrie. But
Carrie doesn't die in the book like she does.
No, she does. She does. She dies from her wounds. She dies.
But not like in the movies where it's she's dying with her mom and basically kind of buries themselves.
Well, and they do this whole thing with Sue Snell where she says, it's a girl you didn't know at the very end of the remake. Well, in the book, it's Sue is late and she's freaking out. And then the second the evening ends, she starts her period.
The alternate ending of the remake, because in the first film where there's basically they turn the rubble of the house as kind of a grave.
Yeah.
And she comes back and isn't it a hand comes up or something?
Yeah.
The remake, it's just in a grave yard and the tombstone just cracks and breaks. But the alternate ending, Sue gives birth and then Carrie's arm comes in and grabs her.
Oh.
The director wanted to keep that one. They like that Sue pregnant, ended up giving birth and then Carrie's hand comes in. Whereas the studio is like, no.
We're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that.
I think there is way more destruction and her vengeance really does become against the town and all the people who saw and didn't help.
In the remake?
In the book.
Okay.
It's somewhat in the remake, but I mean, both of the movies really focus on the revenge with her peers.
Yeah, the remake seems like the revenge destruction after the blood gets poured on her is a lot more fierce than in the original film.
Yes.
To whereas, I mean, even scenes in general, I think it's just the time period too, coming out in 2013.
Absolutely.
Because like the pig scene where they're getting the pig's blood seemed harder than the original film. But that's just the time period.
One of my complaints for both of these, you see it a little bit in the Sissy Spacek one, and I know why they kept away from it in the 2013 one. So hear me when I say I get it. In the book, it is made very clear that when very young, Carrie was really pretty. And by the time she's a teenager, she is overweight, but not fat. She's just very, very sturdy, has greasy, limp hair, and has a lot of pimples. In both cases, they Hollywoodified it and made her like a waif or like, I mean, Sissy Spacek is tiny.
Yeah.
Just, look how pretty you can be if you put on a little lipstick and curl your hair and now you're normal.
They Hollywoodized, yes.
Yeah.
I get what you mean there.
And that's frustrating because on one hand, would they then have been demonized if they'd put an ugly person in there and been like, oh, only ugly people can do ugly things?
Fair.
Like I can see both sides of it.
There would be a voice out there of people that probably would.
Overall, I liked the remake better because it was at least more true to the overall arc of things.
And for me, I like the original better. I think part of it is the nostalgia, but then on the other part is where I feel like the 2013 is just, it turns into very much a run-of-the-mill horror movie that comes out at that time.
Yeah.
To where the original Brian De Palma tried, I mean, he put his style in it, tried to make it like not as, oh, this is a horror movie. as this one just turns to, yep, this is a horror movie. She's going to kill a whole bunch of people now.
I do think both movies spend quite a bit of time on the buildup, which, please hear me, that is a lot of the book, and rush the ending. I think that the original does a better job of showing the destruction within the gym and how, like, oh, this kid, like, touched this cord and, like, then he got electrocuted. And, like, there are parts where in the first one, she's kind of horrified, like, oh, crap, I didn't mean for that to happen kind of thing, which is pretty factual. But the slow demise of the gym, I think, is probably a little bit more real, along with like the crush of people trying to get out.
I feel like the original, the prom night itself felt more like a, she's going to a prom, like this big
Yes, I agree.
thing. As well, the remake, it didn't feel as big of a thing or big of a
I don't
deal.
think prom is as big of a deal anymore. I think that it is just another dance, and dances aren't really that big a deal. Kids go to them because they like the idea of dressing up, but then they want to leave within like an hour and go do their own thing. Like that was their entertainment then.
Yeah, because the original has a live band.
Right.
Has it all.
Oh, well, and in the book, they have like 5 different bands.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was a rock and roll band. There was like a swing band. It was a whole thing.
All right, so overall, you like the remake
Yes.
more.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to rewatch one, you would rewatch
I would rewatch the remake. Yes.
Interesting, because I would rewatch the original.
Well, that usually is how we land. We have never agreed on anything ever.
Would you watch either the made-for-TV movie, or do you have any interest in the miniseries that's coming out later this year?
I might watch the miniseries because my guess is the miniseries, they will do it the way that the book is. There is this whole thing in it called the White Commission. And so doing a miniseries lends itself to, okay, we're going to interview people and then go into flashbacks, which doesn't lend itself well because you can compartmentalize that into here's this episode, younger life. Here's this episode told by this person. So I think that it will work well that way, which I think is an exact opposite thing of what I said at the beginning of this episode. But now that I think about it, the way that the book is written will probably lend itself better.
Translate better to that rather than a 90 to hour and 45 minute movie.
Right. Because I will say it is not a linear book. It doesn't start here and end here. Like it jumps all over the place.
Okay.
Final thought on my part. If you've never read any Stephen King, this would be a fine place to start, but it is not indicative of what his novels will become. He does a ton of horror works. Obviously, that's what he's known for. But I would encourage you to read his short stories because they are phenomenal.
Have you seen other Stephen King adaptations? Like read the book and seen the movie both? Yeah. Are there any that off the top of your head that you can think of that are a good adaptation that...
Oh, Misery's great.
I mean, Misery is a really good movie. So
yeah, it's a really good book.
I've seen tons of the films, obviously, but like this one, The Shining, Christine, those are movies that are just like the classics that you just know. I'm curious to see what they do with the miniseries. It's one that maybe we can start watching it and go, are we going to continue, not continue? Maybe we'll do a part 2 and it'll be the made-for-TV remake and the miniseries. We'll do the TV side of Versus. I don't know.
Maybe not, but maybe. The other little tidbit that I will give you is that Stephen King was actually working as an English teacher, and he wrote Carrie because he couldn't live off of his wages as a teacher.
Look at him now.
And he continued teaching until, because when the book came out, the hardback only sold 13,000 copies. And then when the paperback came out, it sold 1 million copies. And that's when he thought maybe he could decide to dedicate himself to writing.
Any more thoughts on the 1976 Carrie or the 2013 Carrie? As we always are.
I will say, 1976, they have it take place in Ohio, supposedly. The book, it takes place in Maine. The 2013 remake, it's very obviously the West Coast, based on the palm trees.
It felt like a West Coast, California, definitely. I hope you will come back for another Versus. Whatever I decide,
or
with
maybe
air
I'll
quotes.
decide the next one.
Ooh, there you go.
We'll see. Maybe it'll be something you've never seen.
Maybe.
Probably.
I know, and we don't always disagree. We agreed on April Fool's Day. House of Wax, I don't know, but it's hard not to agree on April Fool's Day because the remake was awful. Just keep it right here. Make sure you subscribe to the show so you don't miss whenever these come out or anything else I do over here on the show, whether it's my interviews, reviews, Tales from Tubi, whatever it might be. I'll be back soon with a brand new episode. Just snuggle up in that blanket, turn off the lights, because it's okay to be scared. We'll talk to you later, everybody.